How did you experience the postpartum with Oliver and Gail? Was it different? Was it the same?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, with our first one, Ollie, how old was I? 25 or something? 26. And yeah, I mean, I was absolutely over the moon with him because he was just such an angel child. But it took me a while to get into daddy mode.
I remember.
I think I was obviously like very much in love with him from day one. But it took me a while to kind of like get into the routine of like how to look after a child, and I mean even small things like how to hold a child. And we briefly touched on this in the other video, but like I was very scared on hurting him, and you know, I would be nervous picking him up or supporting his head or holding him too hard. And bear in mind, I'd had like almost no interactions with babies in my life up until my son was born.
Yeah.
None of my friends had kids. None of my cousins who lived nearby had kids. They all lived abroad, like a long way away. And I had no sort of like prior experience with young kids.
Yeah, you were not exposed to have to take care of a baby.
Zero. And yeah, as a guy, like it's not something you kind of go into. And I think that with you, for example, you just like got it so quick. And I was
always very
for me, it was like, it was just so cool watching you, and that's the truth, it's so cool watching you like jump straight into motherhood and kind of like, at least on the outside, look like you know what you're doing. And
I didn't question what I was doing. That's the thing. I did what I felt was right, and I trusted how I felt on how to do things. I did ask for advice to nurses on things that I did not know, or I was unsure about. But I don't think for 1 second I doubted on how to be a mom or how I wanted to be. You know, as soon as they put Oliver on me or Gail, I just like, but Oliver obviously being the firstborn, I just like, I don't know. I was that kind of kid, I guess. I was, if you would gift me for Christmas a Barbie or a baby born, I would choose the baby born always. And I remember I would go to my bedroom and just like do like, oh, it's like my apartment. Do you know what I mean? And I had my baby and all that stuff. So I think that's where you see I was very maternal from always, and I always wanted to have kids, even though I always wanted to continue working. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think going on to the postpartum feeling and going a bit more deeper than how you felt to handle your baby, it's also what I really want to touch on is how mentally you feel when you start not sleeping your full nights, when you start seeing that that you have a very dependent baby, that your life.
I think with Ollie it was like I don't remember it being really tough. I don't know why. Maybe that just kind of.
I think the first month I was fully like on duty, and you were more struggling. So you were also you started your own business, which is now we are together. But you started off by yourself, and you were focusing very much on having more clients and being able to have more income for all of us. And I think that was like, at the moment, I think that was your main focus, knowing that you had your kid. It was that was the fuel.
Yeah.
But I think you were focusing more on that. And then I really believe that after the first month, you switched on fully on daddy mode, and you were like changing nappies, and you were like very much taking your baby, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think mentally that's where you had the switch on. A
big switch as well was when you started kind of like, because you really didn't take much maternity leave at all.
No.
And I think a big switch for me was like when you started going back to the office in the mornings.
Yeah.
And
I forced you
to
be with the kid.
I mean, I was with him anyway, but like forced me to do all the things myself.
I was not there anymore.
Yeah, and so I had to do like feeds and nappy changes and stuff like myself, and actually it was quite a wonderful time, and I'm very fortunate at that, because I don't think there are many dads who
I trusted
are
you.
able. Yeah, but I don't think there are many dads who like have the privilege basically of like being almost certainly in the mornings like full time with the kids.
Yeah.
And still working. Like I remember just like working at my computer, and
bouncing.
Ollie would be in this like little bouncy chair under my desk, basically, or on the side of my desk, and he was a happy little bunny, just like playing with whatever toys in there and stuff, and I would like bounce him with my foot, and he would fall asleep a lot, and then
Yeah,
I
he
would
was
do
very
like
small.
I would do like tummy time moments with him, and like put him on like the tummy time sort of like play mat thing and stuff. And
Well, that was like later on, but at the
Mm.
beginning, I think I was like maybe 4 weeks kind of off work, but I was still answering to messages
yeah,
and
you're a bit of a
emails and
beast, to be
stuff.
honest.
And then after the first month, I started going to the office in the morning, but it was never more than 3 hours because I was still breastfeeding.
Yeah.
I breastfed Oliver for 3 months because I didn't have then enough supply for his hunger.
Demand,
Yeah. But so it was really for 3 months, for 2 months after the first month when I started going to the office, I was out for three hours, and I still remember going to suppliers and my boobs be leaking and be like, oh shit, it's coming through my t-shirt. Anyways, but it's a whole experience, and afterwards, yes, we did. I was staying more like the full morning up to lunch in the office and then we work because he was now with bottles, so you could do it by yourself.
But I think just to touch on what you said, like I think I use that as like a fuel to Ollie, as a fuel to do many things, and like I think definitely working harder was one of them, because I mean, yeah, like just starting a new business and stuff is like scary in of itself, but then having a new child
at the same time
and also a new house.
Did you feel like you were struggling mentally with stress?
I was, yeah, I mean, we've always had stress, but like my stress now is very different to how it was like 6 years ago. My stress now is like related to other things, but like back then, work was something that would keep me up at night for sure.
Yeah.
And I would wake up at night with like a panic attack and stuff, and I think a lot of people, when they go through businesses, they have to learn how to cope with that. Because it is very up and down sometimes, especially at the beginning of your company.
100%, and as you mentioned, like there was a lot of things happening at the same time: baby, work, new house.
Yeah. But I never felt like, oh, this was a mistake. Yeah. I never felt like overwhelmed. I think when Gail was born, like I remember when he was really being difficult, like as a baby, and I felt then like once or twice, like I generally felt overwhelmed because like, having the second and then you have the obligations of the first as well.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically being in here, our home office, and being like 2:00 in the morning, and
working.
Him just like working, yeah, but like him just like absolutely bawling and refusing to calm down.
Well, the thing is, with
that
Gail,
was that I think that's the only time where I was like,
yeah, I've seen you actually
okay,
just like
that's
having slightly mental, I mean, small mental breakdowns at night when like, because Oliver was great at falling back asleep and not, it was not difficult nights. I would wake up to feed him, but it was that was it. Then you would go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Whereas Gail has always been a bit more difficult at nights. He would not struggle to fall asleep, but he would wake up a lot and
refuse to sleep.
Yeah, and refuse to sleep, but because there was a cause behind, because he was either having pain in his
colics
belly, or he was having problems with his teeth. The teething was absolutely freaking horrendous with Gail. It's traumatic, honestly.
Like, oh god, I remember we went to the UK.
I can't believe, sorry, I'm interrupting, but like, I can't believe that Oliver, I didn't even realise that his teeth were coming out. Yeah, because he was maybe a little bit of fever here and there, but that's that. And Gail was in agony. He was suffering. It was a baby that was proper suffering.
He was.
Like, Ollie had his first tooth. Literally, I still remember. He was
4 months.
4 months, but Gail was 7-8 months with his first teeth. So.
But I just remember like that trip we went back to England for a Christmas holiday, and we decided.
How old was he?
A year and a bit. It was just over a year. Year and 6 months.
He was 6.5
months.
Yeah.
Oh, even smaller than that. Really?
He was 6.5.
Oh yeah, because it was that. Yeah, okay. So we went to Christmas. Gail was like 6 or 7 months, and we made the mistake of like wanting to take the train to go up to London, which is a 50-minute train on a Thursday or something. So it was packed with commuters, and we had this baby who was actually fine pretty much up until the point where we got on the train, and then he had a tooth erupting, and he was in absolute hysterics, like
I've never,
just
yeah, it was the whole 40
screaming.
minutes.
55 minutes. 50,
It was 55?
53 minutes on the train, yeah, screaming.
Yeah,
Packed.
everyone actually, people were feeling bad for us. They did not make any bad comments or anything. They could see we were doing everything we could to calm him down, and he would
Yeah,
not
that
calm
was
down.
bad. Gail had
Anyways,
a
we
real
were
tough
like
time.
50 whatever minutes in the train to then stay maybe 2 hours in London. Or
Yeah,
3.
we're just like,
we were like,
turn around.
we need to go back. But yeah, going back to the postpartum. I think so. You struggled a little bit more stress-wise because of the amount of responsibilities of having, obviously, like already like your business, our business, the Oliver already here, and also now Gail, who's obviously not sleeping very well at night. Yep. So that's where you found yourself having a bit of.
I felt that we went through, like, with Gail postpartum, like we went through a couple weeks of like really poor sleep.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of maybe the first week, I was just like feeling very, very like, oh my God, what is going on? And yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I mean, you spent.
Did you feel any kind of way, like at any moment maybe like worried about our relationship or a struggle or anything like that? Because it's often that you hear. Well, postpartum, you know, like you're not sleeping much, so you get a bit tense and irritable, and then sometimes it.
No, I've always felt that you and I mean, okay, you have moments of arguments, and when you have pressure and you're not sleeping, God, like you're more easily quick to fire, like, and get angry with each other. But I've never once been like, oh, I regret that, or maybe it's my relationship. Never once, not even once. I just think when back then it was just like I am exhausted, you were exhausted, because like I think with Gail it was very difficult for both of us for one of us to sleep. It wasn't like let's take turns.
Yeah, no, we couldn't.
It was not like that. It wasn't, oh, don't worry, honey, you sleep and I'll deal with the baby. It was like we both had to be on it because he was just like
it was
tough.
proper loud, and we were worried that it would wake up Oliver, and so we were like going from one room to another, closing doors, trying to calm him down, going downstairs. No, I think
the issue, I think the big postpartum thing though you had was with your relationship with Oliver after Gail was born.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a struggle because so I feel like postpartum for women, that's why I've been asking you a lot of questions, because I'm really wondering how a man lives that experience, because you're not the one giving birth, but you also have a newborn.
You have responsibilities
and
as well.
And you have the responsibility as well.
Yeah.
And so, but I know how I felt, right? Where I felt like, obviously I was very happy to have my baby, but you're worried about many things. And one of them is obviously if you have another child, how is the other child going to react? How is he going to be with you or with the sibling? And when I was pregnant with Gail, my midwife, that I still have the same midwife with this third baby child, I love her. She has 3 kids. She has 2 boys and a girl. Funny enough, same situation than us. And she said to me, well, you know, don't worry, because often when there's another baby coming, the firstborn or the baby that is right above that baby can be very nice to the sibling, but can turn onto the mother. So it can turn and be not so nice and receptive to the mum, because they feel like the mom now is dedicating her time that she was dedicating before to him or her, now to a newborn. And so they don't hate the newborn because they see it as an innocent thing, but they hate you because you're not spending that time anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and also I started spending a ton of time with Ollie.
Yeah, so I accepted that, and when she told me this, I was like, thank you so much, because obviously I prepared myself massively for the 9 months, 10 months really of pregnancy. I was like, okay, either he's gonna be a bit rough with his brother, because he's gonna be like, oh, this thing is taking away my time from my mum or my dad. I said, or he's gonna not want to have much to do with me. But I don't think I expected it to be to the extent it was. And I think I managed it really well. I had
did.
some breakdowns where I felt like my son didn't love me anymore. This is not the case. I was like, Freddie, he doesn't love me anymore. But basically, the way he reacted is Freddie was spending more time with Oliver because I was breastfeeding for 5 months, Gail, and I was also, I didn't really take a break at all with Gail. I didn't even take a month, probably 1 week. But like I was working on my laptop, and I remember I was breastfeeding on the other hand, and we were trying, and we are very good at putting routines for the kids, and I was trying to put in a routine Gail so that he would fall asleep before Oliver, so I could spend time with so he would fall asleep before Oliver, so I could spend time with Oliver when he would go to bed. And that was the plan, and that was what I was trying to do. But then because I was not sleeping much, I would find myself that when I was putting down Gail, I would fall asleep at the same time than Gail, and then I would be missing out on putting Ollie to bed every night. And so Freddie started stepping up, obviously, on that end and being more with Oliver and being like, oh, mommy's with Gail, and she's tired because she's also like up at night. And he would explain, well, obviously Oliver was 2.5 years old. It's just a very small baby.
You don't kind of remember how small he is, but he was very small.
When I go back, I love going back into my album on my phone and show them pictures of themselves and videos of themselves. And obviously I revisit those moments as well, and I'm like, wow, he was really young. I got pregnant with Gail. He was not even 2 years old. He was 1.5, right? And he still needed his mummy, you know. But I felt like, you know what, I'm still there when he needs me. He calls me, I'm always there. But I was missing that time. I was missing a lot of the putting you to bed, and I was before having Gail, I was every night there. There was just a little period where I was less there when he was way more difficult to put to sleep.
And I would spend like an hour putting him down.
An hour to put him down.
I managed to get him to sleep listening to, for the gamers out there, the Elder Scrolls 4 Skyrim and Oblivion theme tunes would just like knock him out, and it was like the biggest hack that I've ever found. So he started to be a bit, I don't want you, I want daddy. I don't want you, and I would go to wake him up though. Every morning I would go and give him kisses and cuddles, and he was like, why are you here? I don't want you, I want daddy. And so that lasted for a year and a bit. So I genuinely was like, this is becoming so long and eternal. I was like, it was supposed to be, I was thinking to myself, I was like putting myself, okay, it's been 3 months, he's like this, it's fine, it will get to an end. We'll get to the 6 months. He was still like this, and then I would pick him up at school. I would make sure to pick him up at school. That's for sure. Yeah. I would like always picking him up, and mostly dropping him off as well. And he would literally in front of all other parents, why are you picking me up? I don't want you. I want daddy. And so I think what I know I was struggling mentally with it because I love my son and I felt rejected, but I never once, I think I doubted a few minutes when I had like my breakdowns when I was tired and telling you like he doesn't love me, but not once I felt like that's it. It was I knew it was a momentaneous thing, and how do you call it? Momentary.
I knew it was momentary, and I knew this was going to change, and I never ever said, okay, you don't want me, you want daddy, okay, I'll leave. No, there was no option. I was like, daddy's not here, it's me. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm staying here. You like it or not. Then I think because I was doing this all the time and I was like not getting angry or upset in front of him about this, he kind of like in the end just from one day to another he just switched.
I think it still took like 1.5 years though.
It did take, but it took 1.5 years. But after continuously reacting the way I was reacting and him obviously one of the biggest step changes I saw actually was when you started putting him to bed. Yeah. And B, because there was one point where like I was somehow magically able to get Gail to sleep. And then and you started getting, because Gail was he's still a bit of a mummy.
Yeah, Gail's very mummy boy. But like there was a moment where I was able to get Gail down to sleep quicker than you. So I started doing that, and then you started like putting Ollie down to bed, and that was quite a big step change. But also, funnily enough, was
when I started playing with
when
him,
you started playing Nintendo Switch
so
games.
I'm not a gamer. I'm really not a gamer. I've never done it in my life. I'm like the worst.
Give yourself some credit. You're not bad. She's quite fiery on Mario Kart, to be honest.
But I'm very happy to play Mario Kart. I love that. And Little Planet was also fun.
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet, yeah. Sorry. But so I think when he saw I was like sharing with him things that he liked, I think is when he definitely like
that was a massive step change. To be honest.
Changed his perception, or like he started wanting me more and seeing me like fun and stuff. So
did you ever feel like overwhelmed with Gail?
It's very bizarre because even though he was generally an overwhelming baby because he was suffering of pains and he was also a kid who had a lot of bronchitis.
It was like every other month he was on
it was every 2 weeks.
Not
Not every 2 weeks on antibiotics, but every 2 weeks he had
some
bronchitis,
kind of
a chest infection.
Yeah.
He would go between chest infection and laryngitis, so it was constantly like.
That was pretty much from the age when he started daycare. It was, but apparently that's really normal.
It was from his 6 months, and he started at 8 months.
So in Ollie would bring something.
Probably.
Yeah.
But anyways, like your question is, did I feel overwhelmed? I did not feel overwhelmed. I don't think I felt overwhelmed. I think he was an overwhelming baby for sure, but I felt the most calm and patient that I ever thought I would be, because I'm someone who I always tell myself, oh, you should be more patient, and I always felt like I was never patient enough in general. I even freaking tattooed the word patient, so see if we could, but maybe just just putting it out in the universe and tattooing it maybe just gave me even more patience. But I felt like patience, but where I felt like you would lose that night, I was constantly like very like calm and zen and stuff, because I was like, well, he is obviously not okay, he's not feeling good, what can I do? I can't be angry at a little thing that just, you know what I mean? So I didn't feel overwhelmed at all. I felt a bit tired. And I think my thing, postpartum, I think would be more like, where I could say I feel overwhelmed, is not about the baby, it's about all the roles I have. And I feel meaning
inside the house and outside the house.
Exactly, meaning I want to be a good mum. So I want to be a good mum to my baby.
But you're a perfectionist, though.
I am a perfectionist, obviously, that I need to work on, and I've been working on for years, of understanding that when you're trying to do your best, it's enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, and people don't expect
done is better
perfect.
than perfect. Yeah,
exactly. But going back onto the overwhelming, I think it is because I think if there's one thing that can stress me in life, is work.
Yeah.
Nothing else really stresses me, to be honest. And so I would be a bit overwhelmed because I felt like I needed to continue to be this businesswoman, and I needed to continue working, and I needed to do my job correctly. And I'm a very pro woman having kids and working, because I think we are capable to do that.
Yeah.
But I think society has to be a little bit more understanding and receptive to the fact that a woman is trying her best to be working and having a baby, and obviously you have to maintain your house. And this is never a dig on men. I think it's more like we are wired completely different, women and men, and we women are way more. We look at details in the house aspect a bit more than men. Men, I always say, like I always heard Freddie say, it's fine, I would be happy living in a shoebox. Obviously, this is not the case. He's massively happy having his house and all the furniture and nice little things that we have, and he's very proud about it. But whereas I want the house to be tidy, I want things to be clean, I want my toilets to be freaking white and clean. I want, you know what I mean? I want things to be clean. I was like, you know, you have your baby, you're waking up a lot at night, you have another baby expecting another kid, he was 2.5, so still a baby, expecting things from you. Then you have other like pressures that you have from society, you know, like that I consider are a bit from society, where you know, you should not be you should not be feeding your kid a puree coming from a pot purchased. You should be doing the puree yourself. And so you're kind of like navigating. This is an example. This is a bit navigating how you want to be a mum or a parent, and all the external information that is bombarding you of how you should be. And then you also want to still be a wife, and you still want to be a woman. Do you know what I mean? You still want to feel smexy. You still want to be available. You still want to have these moments with your husband where you're like intimate and just both of you. But you need to understand and accept both, obviously, that you're going through a moment where there is extreme exhaustion. There is also like a whole change in the body of the woman, where we don't feel super attractive because we have obviously a belly to suck back up. And those are all the things that I felt maybe didn't struggle with it, but had a huge realization that, and I say this to my friends, my girlfriends, is I don't think we are told enough about this. I don't think, and this is why I wanted to do this podcast about this, because I don't think we are told enough as young women, young girls, that you're going to be exposed to all those big feelings after you've given birth. It's not just being exposed to, oh, I have a baby that I need to take care, that needs to feed, and that needs to be, you know, like surviving thanks to you. It's that you're going to be struggling with, oh, I'm not anymore spending that much time with my husband, intimate time, or like, oh, it's more sporadic as before. Oh shit, I can't put my kid to bed because the other one is crying and I need to breastfeed him. Do you know what I mean? Or I need to give him a bottle. Who cares? Which I, by the way, think it's as good to breastfeed than to give a bottle. What you have to do is you and your best to make yourself feel good and happy
in your situation.
Exactly, and that fits your situation, because if you have a happy mom or a happy dad, there's a happy kid. That's it. And that's where I think I struggled, in the sense of realizing all these things, that I could not be perfect. I struggle with understanding that I could not be perfect in everything. That's exactly where I struggled postpartum. And I think I realized, actually I had this big realization, not with my first kid, with my second kid. With the first one, I was still young, obviously, younger. Not much younger, obviously, but I was younger, and I think I had a huge difference in my brain development, my maturity between birthing Oliver at 24 and birthing Gail at 27. There was a huge difference, obviously. And with Oliver, I was just, I think, more trapped on, how can I do everything perfect with my kid? How can I be, you know what I mean? How can I be also perfect at work? And my struggle after having Oliver was more like, I'm not being good enough at work. I'm not being good enough as a mom. I'm just like splitting, not with Oliver. That was my struggle with Oliver. Is like understanding I could not give any more full day to work, and I could not give full time either to my kid. I had to be a bit like, and here, like, bear in mind, I'm a very lucky person because I can choose to work from home, or I can, you know, I am, obviously we're self-employed, so we can manage a bit like that flexibility. And I think it's a huge advantage, but it's also a massive disadvantage in the sense that you have a huge pressure on yourself that you're the provider and there's no security. So there's a bit of the both worlds, but that was my struggle with Oliver, is like understanding I was doing my best in both ways and I could not be perfect, and certainly I could not be how I was before, because things have changed. And with Gail, then my huge like realization of, hey, you can't be perfect in anything. You're trying your best in everything, and you have all these big feelings. That's okay. It's okay to have big feelings. You know what I mean? You're going through a huge change, and we made sure to spend time together.
Yeah, you have. I think a lot of couples though, they do break up after having children
because it's a huge pressure.
Yeah, and a lot. I think you just have everything all at once. I mean, having kids is probably the best thing you can do in your life, I think. I
totally agree. It's the best
okay,
thing I've done.
Respect to people who choose to not have children, but like, it does, for me, there's something so rewarding about seeing your child and seeing them actually develop into a really cool little human, you know? and you know, having that impact on them and kind of giving them a worldview that is interesting, and seeing how they question what you're saying still.
Yeah.
And
they have their own little minds.
Yeah, and just watching them grow up and teaching new things and showing them new experiences for me is just insanely rewarding. And there's something quite magical about the end of the day where your son comes up to you and says, "I love you, Daddy," and gives you a hug, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'll just melt." Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, but a lot of couples, I think, particularly in the first like 1 to 2 years of being parents, it's a massive change, and I think a lot of people need support with that.
I agree.
But I think support, I think, is key, and really feeling like that, you know, they're not alone, and these feelings are normal to feel, and everyone feels it, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
How are you? I mean, I
wanted to add.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I wanted to what you were saying. I wanted to add that I think the key of everything in that moment is being humble. Both need to be humble, and both need to take a step back on what they would like, and understand the position of the other person, your partner, and
particularly when it comes to things like intimacy as well.
I think there's it goes further than that, in my opinion. It's like I think as a woman we can tend to think, well, why didn't you do this? Like you expect your husband to do something, and maybe God, he's not in your head. He doesn't know what you're expecting, what you want. Yeah. Sometimes just understanding that already removes a lot of disagreements and arguments, because you're just saying it.
You're just being honest and
clear.
Like,
hey, like Freddie, I would love if you would help me out. You know, like if you help me out with the kitchen today, you clean the kitchen. I'm just gonna focus on something else. But if you don't say anything and just go focus on whatever you need to do, and you expect him to do it, and then it's not done, and you get angry because it's not done, maybe you also have part of the guilt, you know, of not voicing what you're expecting. So I think in those moments where we know both are stretched thin, both haven't slept very well, and both are having a big change in their lives, it's a matter of being humble, taking a step back, understanding what the other person is voicing. Communication. I think communication is key in a couple anyways.
And something that I've always tried to tell myself, like, let's say we go through a period of like a lack of intimacy, right? 9.9 times out of 10, it's to do with external pressures that is going on, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with our relationship or what we feel for each other. But I think sometimes, and I see this with some of my male friends, is that they have a need that they think they have, and that they feel they deserve said needs to be met. And that's true to some extent, but not all the time. And you also have to recognize that when you're in a long-term committed relationship, your partner's a human being. And they are also, even more so when you've just had a baby, you know, even 1 to 2 years into being parents and whatnot, that these human side of it is going to be such that she's not going to be perfect, or he's not going to be perfect, and you have to accept that that's okay. And I love this quote from Tom Hanks: if you're ever going through a difficult moment in life, regardless if it's to do with parents or work or whatever, it's this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And if you are going through a tough moment, and you know, babies are magical things, and you'll have good bad times and bad times and everything in between, that's just part of the game. But when you're going through a difficult moment like we did with Gail with his teething and stuff like that, and just generally, I think he was quite a tough baby for the first year and a half or so. But this too shall pass, and he's the most sweet, loving,
he's like
and
I
beautiful
call him
angel
like,
boy.
He's definitely a teddy bear. Like he's
literally a teddy bear, and this too shall
incredible.
pass, and we got through it. I don't feel worried at all about the third.
Oh no, I'm not. It's like the least.
I'm like so zen, which is weird for me. I'm so zen about having our third, and I just know that I don't know why, but I have this like, I mean, maybe it won't be, but I have this like feeling inside of me that it's going to be the best postpartum experience that we will have, because we know how it works. We've done it twice. We have our
different though.
Yes, we have our routine down, but also I think it's because that we know that, I don't know, I just feel like the boys are going to be like super happy and supportive. I think it's gonna be. I don't know. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
But like I before Gail was born and even before Ollie was born, I had this like. Obviously, I'm very excited, but I had a sense of like.
Bit of stress.
Anxiousness and stress about it. But like with the third, I'm not worried at all.
I'm not worried about it. I think each kid is a world. I think that you cannot have. We say we cannot build castles on sand. But we don't know how the baby. You can have difficulties, and maybe it's harder postpartum regarding. I don't know. Maybe she could struggle with anything, but I think I'm feeling very calm about not questioning. I don't question anything. I feel very sure about everything. I feel very calm about everything. It's a very deep feeling of it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It's a very deep feeling also what I have of she is going to complete our family. It really is like I feel like it's the missing puzzle, piece of the puzzle. That's exactly how I feel about this baby. And I also think we are fully prepared and we have all the tools to face anything that may come. And I think that we are a very strong couple. We have our ups and downs sometimes like everyone else, but it never lasts very long.
No.
Do you know, it never, ever, ever has lasted very long. Like even when we have slightly lacks of intimacy because we are tired, because we're having stress. It's never
We've been together for nearly a decade. I mean,
like next year we've been 10 years together, and it's never been very long, and it's always been like, hey, I really want a bit more attention from you in that regard or in this regard, and we quickly kind of like react to this and make that little change or effort to make each other feel better.
We talk about it.
So we talk about it, but that's the main key of it. Sure. And I think that's all about the podcast. We just really wanted to talk about this topic. This is a very important topic, and hope you liked it.
We actually need to go and get our elders now from school. So thank you so much for watching episode 3.
Bye.